So the Pixel 10a spec sheet just leaked, and at first it looks fine. But once you look closer, it turns into one of the strangest new phones Google has ever made. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether this is worth waiting for, or if you should skip it entirely. Let's get into it. So recently, the Pixel 9a was getting a lot of praise for being simple, reliable, and honestly, one of the safest mid-range phones you can buy. And it looks like Google took that feedback a little too seriously. The Pixel 10a has now appeared in Verizon's internal database under its codename. And what it reveals is surprising, because this is basically a Pixel 9a with a new name slapped on it. And I'm really not exaggerating here. When you look at the listed hardware, it's almost copy-paste. It's not about what's new anymore. It's what does new even mean anymore? Normally, even small upgrades are expected year over year. Nothing crazy, but at least something. With the Pixel 10a, that progression is hard to see. Now, to be fair, early listings sometimes reuse placeholder specs. That does happen sometimes. But multiple reliable sources are treating these specs as final, so expectations should stay very realistic here. Thankfully, there are a couple of upgrades here, and the biggest change here is the display. Thanks to leaked renders, Google has finally trimmed down the bezels. And this is actually a meaningful improvement. On top of that, brightness is getting a boost. High brightness mode jumps to 2000 nits, up from 1800, and peak brightness goes all the way to 3000 nits, similar to the Pixel 10. But the display panel still isn't something brand new. It still has just dual refresh behavior with no LTPO upgrade. So yes, it's better, but it's not transformative. And that's really the theme with this phone overall. Moving on to cameras, and it's a familiar story. The Pixel 10a sticks with a 48-megapixel main, a 13-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 13-megapixel selfie lens. These cameras aren't bad at all, but for a 2026 mid-range phone, it's just not exciting anymore. Google is once again relying almost entirely on computational photography instead of any real hardware upgrades. Now let's talk about performance, because that's usually what defines the real generation gap. And this is where things actually get worse. The Pixel 10a is expected to reuse the Tensor G4 with a slightly boosted version. By the time this phone launches, that chip will already be almost 2 years old. The newer Tensor G5 is built by TSMC and costs more, which is likely why Google didn't make the jump. But if this boosted Tensor G4 supports the newer AI features from the Pixel 10 series, at least there's some upside on the software side. Battery life is solid, but charging is expected to remain slow with no sign of improvement. And one thing Google thankfully isn't changing is the price. The Pixel 10a is expected to stay at $499. So the real question is, should you actually wait for this? Honestly, there's no real reason to right now. The Pixel 9a is heavily discounted. Yes, you'd miss out on an extra year of updates and possible AI freebies with the 10a. But the money you save today might matter more than getting the same phone with a new name. And while Google is reusing last year's specs, Samsung going even further, using 6-year-old S20 specs inside the upcoming S26. Click right here to watch all the details. This is Techtics, and I'll see you there.